Hello, my beautiful YouTube family. I hope that you are all just immersing yourselves in the powerful shifts taking place for all of us, whether it's internally or externally. We are all being shifted into growth and change and evolving and ascending. Our lives and our realities are shifting in reflection of our growth, or to help us to grow and to shift out of the familiar and the comfortable, which is not necessarily conducive to our growth anymore. We are being shifted out of the complacent and old stagnant ways of living and existing that did serve us at some point in our life, but now it is really time for us to move and shift and change. And it may be an internal story, a loop, a pattern, a behavior. It may be something really massive externally that is happening, like a big move, like a change in a job, a house moving. Maybe something's happened with your car and it feels like totally out of your control, but it is happening for you. We have no idea what is going on behind the scenes, what our guides and our angels and our ancestors are working on behind the scenes. Even when something seemingly terrible happens, like I know of 4 different people in my field who have gotten into completely written off car accidents recently, and this can happen with the tower energy of this month, but who knows what you are being protected from, or there is many reasons why this can happen, and we are being called to just really trust and have faith and surrender and just know that everything is always happening to help us, to teach us, to really help us align with our most authentic selves and our path and our truth, and to just help us align more with our heart and our soul's calling. And especially this month, we are in a very transformative energy. Things are moving and shifting, and the energies are not wanting us to stay stagnant. The energies are really wanting us to move and to act and to connect with others as well as connecting deeper within with ourselves and listening to our inner world as well, through meditating and quietening your inner world and your mind and making space for yourself, as well as reflecting on all of the relationships and the connections in your life and the patterns and the behaviors just the ways that you interact with other people and what isn't serving you anymore. And this new moon that I'm going to talk about in this video, which we're moving into in Vedic Gemini Mrigashira Nakshatra, this new moon is happening on the 14th or 15th of June, depending on where you live. And we are moving into this new moon following the previous full moon, which was in Scorpio Anuradha Nakshatra. That full moon happened on the 31st of May, and we are still really immersed in the energies of Scorpio Anuradha until we move into this new moon. This new moon will be like a culmination point of creating this new chapter based upon the lessons that we learnt with that full moon in Scorpio, in Anuradha. And the Anuradha themes are a lot to do with how we connect with others, with friendships, relationships, partnerships, and all of the shadow themes that arise with that. And people are our biggest mirrors or proof of what is happening internally. Our belief systems and our perceptions of ourselves and of others will get reflected to us by others. And moving into this new moon in Gemini, Gemini is also very connected to others. Gemini is literally in tarot, the Lovers Tarot, which is two, like a man and a woman who are completely naked in nature. They're just so like harmoniously existing, so authentic because they're naked. They literally have nothing to hide. So a real deep question you can ask is there anywhere in your life where you are wearing a mask, where you're not being authentic, and what can you do to be more authentic? I know so many of us wear masks to just be able to interact with other people, and I'm really super aware of that right now, of how much I have worn a mask just to be able to feel safe enough to interact with so many people in my life, because of my like my people pleasing tendencies. I feel like I have definitely worked through that and become super authentic, but it still gets tested a lot in times of conflict and really intense interactions with people. That's when you get tested the most, and I feel that you will get tested until you reach your limits and really stand your ground and be your authentic self, because there's always going to be people who don't agree with you, who don't honor you, who don't respect you. And yeah, these sorts of people will always exist, but you, as long as you know that you are safe in yourself and in your center and in your ability to defend for yourself and to speak up for yourself and stand your ground, or maybe it's just being able to deflect that situation in the most authentic and aligned and loving way possible. This is, I feel, a big theme that's going to come up with this new moon, because this nakshatra of Mrigashira has a lot of connection to the deer. There is a symbol of the deer's head, which the deer's head is really symbolic of Gemini also being like Mercury is the mind. So the head, the mind, it is a lot of mental activity. And I've written down, like, with the deer's head, it's like this intuitively instinctual insight and perception that we have, just like the deer who's able to sort of maneuver through the forest or wherever they're in and be able to dodge predators. And like, the deer is an animal which is like a prey, and they are known for dealing with conflict by literally running away and being smart and clever. And it's so interesting because this is such a, I feel is such, I've noticed this in Gemini, people with strong Gemini in their chart, is they are able to deal with conflict in a really clever way through their ability to communicate and to just bring more love into more love and more logic and more truth into whatever communication is happening. And like, the shadow of this is people pleasing, or literally running away from that conflict, or just trying to appease the other person and take on more responsibility for others who are not able to regulate their emotions, by bringing in more of your peace and love and ability to bring more stability into that, which is not our responsibility ever. And that specific thing is like, it's a very specific theme that can come up with others with communicating, but there's so many things that can come up. And this new moon is really wanting to bring up like authentic communication and connection, and what isn't authentic and how can we shift and change that. For me, that specific theme is so deep, and it's so triggering and hurtful, because with like thinking about the previous Scorpio full moon, Scorpio is wanting to bring up the trauma within us and what has deeply triggered us. So the ways that we communicate that aren't authentic cause us to betray ourselves, and that is a very deep wound, because if we betray ourselves, then we will not trust ourselves, and maybe then we won't trust others. And it gets so deep, but it's just something for you all to reflect on and ask yourselves how you can shift your communication to be more authentic, which will then lead to deeper questions of how are you communicating with yourself, what are the stories you tell yourself about others, and what is your belief system around how others will show up in your field, and what you have to deal with, what do you feel like you deserve or align with, because like these people are just like, when you encounter someone who is being mean or hurtful or just really not treating you well, disrespecting you, they are an agent in that moment in your field to really help you, to help you see something in yourself, that like a story, like some sort of test to see where you are also at. And it's so important how you then interact with that person, and it's just so important because it's going to then shift how future you will interact. And it gets easier and easier with time. I don't know if it gets easier, but you will get more familiar and more comfortable with being more authentic, even when you know that the external world doesn't like it or isn't really supporting that. As long as you are staying true to you, that is what matters. And Mrigashira is ruled by Mars, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So Mars is like a combative energy. It is like the warrior within us, the part of us that feels the need to defend and protect and to like be our security guard in a way. And Mercury is our mind and our thoughts and our beliefs. So it can bring up things to do with like for me, it's been bringing up how much of my stories have made me feel like the world is sometimes like a war, like a battlefield. Like I'm just always under attack by someone who I have to sort of prove myself to really stand my ground, to really like not take on the disrespect or the criticism or the shame or whatever it is. And that is such a story coming from such a victim mindset. And this year especially, we are being called to be more in our solar plexus power, which is not being a victim and also not being a perpetrator, because that is like the other extreme of just being the one who is being super disrespectful and mean and critical and judgmental and just putting people down. Like that's also the other extreme. But not being a victim or a perpetrator, but being so sure of yourself and so like solid in your sense of self that nothing that is happening around you will faze you. And of course, like we are all human. Like when the external world or people are interacting with us in a way that is like not nice, like even if it could be an energetic thing, like they could be saying the nice things, but their energy is really like, you can feel that you don't like it's not coming from an authentic place. Like of course that will feel hurtful, but the more sure we are of ourselves and in our sense of who we are and our individuality, we will be able to discern what is projection and what is truth. And if it's not coming from love and growth, it's not coming from truth. And we have the ability to really tap into that powerful discernment with the new moon, because this is the time where the moon is its darkest, and it's like a blank slate for before we start this new chapter. And we just have the ability to just tap into all of the darkness that is within ourselves as well, especially within our mind, which our mind creates so much of our reality, our thoughts, our beliefs, our perception of ourselves, and the beliefs that we have about ourselves and of others, and how the world is with us, which is like a lot of it goes down to our childhood programming, which we have a powerful ability to really shift and transform this entire month, but especially with this new moon being the new chapter. This is the time where we can set new intentions for the direction of our path and our new chapter to go in a more aligned way. And before we set these intentions, it's important to do that inner work and just process what wants to come up for us now. And there probably will be, moving into this new moon, certain themes that are resurfacing, and different events taking place in your life, or messages from people that have a similar theme. So reflect on what that is and why that is repeating for you now, because we are being given the opportunity to really break a loop, which is super, super powerful. So yeah, I've got written down the previous full moon, which was in Anuradha. Oh yes, so that was also connected to the planet Mars, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and this new moon being in Gemini Mrigashira is also ruled by Mars. And the Tower Tarot for this month, the Tower archetype is also ruled by Mars. So a lot of the themes are to do with how we act. With our Mars is how we take action. It is the Yang symbol, the masculine part of us, which is able to get an intuitive, instinctual download of what we need to do, and then do the thing that we need to do for ourselves, to be courageous enough to take the actions that we need to be courageous, to be disciplined, to be consistent with what we need to do, even when we don't feel like doing it. And our mind and our mental plays such a big role in our ability to act as well, and they need to be in flow and in harmony. And a really powerful way to connect our mind-body connection is through breath work, and through meditating, through doing yoga, through journaling, because you're actually like bringing your thoughts down onto paper, and making plans, like step-by-step plans on what you can do based on the intuitive downloads coming to you now. Another thing about this new moon, which is really powerful, is that the energies connected to Mrigashira is Soma, which is the nectar of bliss and love and immortality, sensuality. Soma is this divine nectar which is so powerful, and it is so, like, it just connects you to truth and love and bliss. And it's interesting with this star, it is called the searching star, and there's so many symbols, like the deer, who, like, deers are constantly on a search as well for food. They're very curious. They're known as being very like, they like to explore and search, and that is very on theme with Gemini. And the message with this star is that there is this deep search through people, through connections, through experiences, through knowledge, through education, through learning. There's this constant search for a deep feeling and a deep truth. And that deep truth is actually already within us. The Soma is actually within us. And all of this external experience and knowledge and learning and connecting with others, these things can help us gain a deeper understanding of life and what is truly important. But ultimately, that deep wisdom comes from within us, and we carry all of that wisdom and truth within us. And a big lesson for Geminis and for Mrigashira is to connect deeper with the wisdom within through cutting out the external distractions. This sign of Mrigashira, I feel energetically like the shadow can be a bit like ADHD energy, which is just really like going from one thing to another, being restless and being like wanting to move in many different directions really quickly and like not being grounded. So grounding is another really powerful thing to do this month, but also like especially this new moon, and connecting within through quietening your mind and all of the external distractions, maybe doing a digital detox, as well as like if you feel called to do actual physical detox, like decluttering, and like not just through the external world but also through stimulus of the food that you eat and like your room, your space, your home, like decluttering. You might feel called to do a bit of like a clean out of your house or your home. It's always a good time to do that on a new moon. And the more space that you make through decluttering, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the more space that you make to develop that like clearer connection to your mind, body and spirit, and really hear the wisdom within you, which it's always within. So yeah, that's really powerful. Doing any type of work like getting your astrology chart read, if you've never had your Vedic astrology chart read, highly recommend doing that. But just like different tools to help you understand yourself deeper. This type of wisdom is honestly so priceless and so powerful, to see your blind spots, your shadows, your weaknesses, your strengths, your hidden talents as well, and maybe like parts of yourself that you haven't even acknowledged or given yourself space to really witness yourself fully. This is the time for it, and to really like through this detoxing and decluttering of your inner and outer world, you make more and more space to see yourself clearly, all of the stories and the patterns, the habits, the behaviors that are not serving you anymore and that are just really programming that you've picked up from the external world. And yeah, like chakra healing is a really powerful thing as well that may come up for you to do. Like our chakras need to be in harmony and balanced and aligned and open, and just like these our chakras really need to be balanced and in harmony and aligned, and the external fears and attachments that may be blocking off any of these energy centers, we will be more able to see that and work through that through just making that space, through the detox and the decluttering of the inner and outer world, and really then come back to our pure state and to really remember who we are, our divine truth and our divine essence, which is yeah, really powerful because the next full moon after this new moon will be in a star that does have that pure energy of our divine truth of who we are before all of the programming and the conditioning of this like material world like infiltrated our spirit. And that is ultimately what we're being called into remembering, is our real authentic selves and our truth before all of that. And yeah, I'll go into that in the following video, but the next full moon will be in a star that is really connected to that powerful divine truth. So this month is really powerful because even after this new moon, this new chapter that we start, we will be moving towards really tapping back into our divine essence of our truth before all of the programming. And that's why like the following full moon will be in Sagittarius, such a free spirit nomad of a sign that just follows the wisdom and the faith of the divine, and that comes from really knowing yourself, trusting yourself, having a strong sense of self as well. And yeah, and then the connections in your life will be more aligned and authentic as well, and more loving, and you'll feel safe and you'll feel free and you'll feel able to just be in that most blissful, loving, aligned energy, that soma which you have within you, the divine nectar of bliss, and it will overpour onto others as well. And we'll all be drinking this soma and connecting with others and just like, yeah, just aligning with the purest, beautiful, loving energies. So yeah, I wish you all such a beautiful new moon, and I wish for you all that you are able to just take on this beautiful energy this month in June, to transform yourselves and to surrender and to align with all that your soul is wanting for you in this time. And yeah, I'd love to hear how you're all going and how it's all been treating you, and I will see you all in my next video. Have a lovely new moon, and I will see you all soon.